Hey now, say now, welcome back to our Angels franchise. The month of April has been very successful for our team and we're looking to continue stacking wins and momentum as the season goes on. We open today's episode on the road against Houston in a rubber match with both teams taking game one so far. Sandy Alcantara was on the bump and he's had a successful season so far as well with a 4-1 record through 6 games, a 1.51 ERA, 103 whip, and a 30-4 strikeout to walk ratio. He has a tough matchup here against Houston, a team who he beat on opening day. So let's get into the action here in Houston. Sandy was on his game early, K'ing the ever-dangerous Yordan Alvarez to get out of the first inning. He then came back to get Christian Walker swinging at the top of the next inning. As he swings, it gets thrown out here. And he then locks up Yanier Diaz on a triple-digit fastball up in the zone for a strikeout. Looking, Sandy was piling on the K's early. The offense got behind him with support early on as well, as one-off starter Matt Vierling gets a hold of a curveball middle plate, and he sends it over the wall and gone. 2-run home run off Christian Javier, and the Halos plate too early. Later on, top of the 5, bases loaded for Taylor Ward. He swings and makes weak contact, but is basically a swinging bunt. He's thrown out first, but that does plate the run, making the score 3-0. In the 5th inning, Sandy was still dealing as well. Full count on Seiya Suzuki. He goes down swinging on a slider that probably caught too much of the plate, but he still swung and missed. That was a 6K at this point for Alcantara. Bottom 6, Pedro Leon fell victim as well, swinging on a pitch out of the zone. O'Hoppe throws him out. 7th inning now with Alvarez up again, and he goes down just like the first time, swinging as he cannot hold back. Sandy making Yordan Alvarez look silly here. 2 outs for Walker, and he's going to ground this one back to Sandy, who snags it and throws him out to end the inning. At this point, Sandy was absolutely on top of his game and had a no-hitter through 7 as the Astros' only base runner came via a walk. 1 out into the 8th inning, Yanier Diaz was up, and he goes down looking for the second time as the slider connects on the outside zone to preserve the no-no. Jahmai Jones is up next. He swings on the first pitch he sees, but ends up grounding this one to Jonathan India, and he's thrown out, giving Sandy a no-hitter through 8 innings. It was all on him to close the door going into the 9th, with the Halos leading 4-0. Jake Myers was up first, and he goes down looking on strikes as another slider hits the zone, marking Sandy's 12th K of the game. Next batter was Pedro Leon. He comes up, he smacks this one on a 1-0 count. It goes back to the warning track, but it ends up snagged by Ryan Noda for out number 2. Jose Altuve was up, but he maintained composure and discipline as he ends up drawing the second walk of the game for the Stros. Then it was the ever-dangerous Jeremy Pena. He was up. He slaps this one down the first baseline. Shaniwell can't field it cleanly, but he comes back to tag him out, and Sandy Alcantara completes the no-hitter in Houston. Dominant showing on the mound as the Astros hitters were off balance all game long, and even their dangerous hitters like Alvarez and Jose Altuve were unable to solve him today. The defense backed him up when needed, and Sandy even took care of some plays himself, but he solidifies the no-hitter for the Angels. Absolutely dominant start for Sandy here as a final stat line. 12 strikeouts. He did issue 2 walks on 124 pitches. Lights out performance to continue his hot streak to start the season. This marked a 3-2 record to start the month of May. Overall sitting at 23-13 going into this critical situation versus the Yanks. Down 2, bases loaded with 1 out in the 8th inning. Zach Neto was up in the bottom of the 8th inning on a 1-1 count. He gets a sinker on the inside. It ends up being a sharp liner that hits the pitcher. Iglesias is able to recover and throw out Neto, but he did end up having to take a knee afterwards, but he ended up being okay. Adele was up next with the bases loaded again, but he swings on the first pitch he sees and just ends up popping out, stranding the runners in the inning. Going into the 9th, no out, runners on first. Logan O'Hoppe versus Ian Hamilton. He hits it to a double play, potentially killing a 9th inning rally. And with Jonathan India up next, he gets jammed on a fastball high and tight. He breaks his bat and pops out behind the plate, ending the game as the Halos squander away a big chance in the 8th inning and the Yankees hold on in the Big A. The Angels went on to lose that series 2-1, followed by losing another series 2-1 to the Orioles, and suddenly they were sliding a bit at this point in the schedule. The following week was not much better, dropping a series to the Rockies, then losing the first 2 games versus Kansas City. Another 3-game losing streak to start the week. That allowed the A's to come back to tie the division lead, with both teams sort of struggling in their last 10 games. Halos eventually break the losing streak by beating KC in the final 5-0, as Shanuel and Ohapi both hit solo home runs, while Trout and Burton both doubled, and Yusei Kikuchi pitched a gem, going 7 scoreless innings, King 5 in the process. This sparked the team a bit as they went on to take 2 straight from division rival Seattle, though they did split the 4-game series 2-2. Afterwards, the Halos went on to sweep the New York Mets, dominating the series, scoring 27 runs while only allowing 6. Angels sat at 32-24 going into this critical situation versus Detroit. Score tied at 1, 2 on, 2 out, with reliever Kevin Ginkgo on the mound. Riley Green was up, and on a 1-1 count, Ginkgo gets him swinging at a slider well inside. It's grounded back to the pitcher, and he's thrown out to get out of the 8th inning jam. Home half of the 8th, Nolan Shanuel was up, and he connects on a curveball that got too much of the plate, slapping it the other way for a 1-out single. Years later, young phenom Chester Burton was up, and he muscles a sinker to right field. It's over the defender's head and goes all the way to the wall. Angels send Shanuel home to try to score. The throw is relayed home, and Shanuel is tagged out at home plate. Missed opportunity there, as they probably should have had a pitch runner on first with a little bit more speed. Chase Silseth took the mound in extras with the ghost runner on second. Jace Jung grounds out to the second, advancing the runner. Next up was Jake Rogers. He slapped one down the first base line, but the ump calls it foul, and he's got to come back to the batter's box. However, he kept his composure, and he ends up drawing a walk a few moments later. With runners on first and third, Tigers try the suicide squeeze, but the bunt is popped up behind center. It's caught for an out, and Logan Ohapi throws out the runner at first. Absolutely brutal play there by the Tigers as they give up the opportunity to score. After the Tigers' error, Jonathan India was up with 2 outs, and he's going to slap a single to left, scoring the game-winning run as the Angels walk off Detroit in the 10th. Both teams traded base runner errors, but it only came back to cost the Tigers as the Angels come through in the 10th to win the game. Following the walk-off, the Angels win the series finale 6-3, marking a close to the month of May. Angels did finish over 500, but was ultimately an underwhelming month, only going 14-13. Though the month was mid, they still kept ground above the A's, albeit only 2 games up. Astros and Mariners are still in the mix as well at 4.5 and 5.5 games back respectively, while Texas appears to be at the bottom of the division. After 2 months, I wanted to take a look at our team leaders in terms of stats. Nolan Shanuel leads the team in hits on a 283 average. Burton, Ward, and Neto all have 50-plus hits as well. Mike Trout, no surprise, leads the team in home runs with 12. Chester Burton is close behind him with 11, while Neto, Ohapi, and surprisingly Jonathan India all have 8 homers themselves. Chester Burton leads the team by far with 44 RBIs, while also leading the team in average at 298. Neto and Trout both have 30 RBIs, while India and Bryant are tied at 26. Our pitching staff was great early on, but our top starters have tailored off just a bit. Bailey Ober and Sandy Alcantara both sit at 6 wins, as Sandy has yet to collect a win since his no-hitter. Woodruff has 4, as well as Kikuchi both sitting at 4 wins. Both players hold the hot hand in the rotation at the moment, while Ben Joyce has been lights out as our closer with 17 saves and a .91 whip. He's also the team leader in ERA-wise at 145, but out of our starters, Bailey Ober leads the rotation with a 2.76 ERA. Ober also leads the team in whip with .84, and Sandy is the second starter at 1.15. Lastly, Ober also leads the rotation in quality starts with 9. This trade and extension appears to be working out great so far. Let's hope the rotation can pick it back up and gain some steam going into the All-Star break. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time.